Morning everybody, welcome to Muscle Monday. Today we are going to talk about the S.I.T.S muscle group. That has nothing to do with sitting on your butt. S.I.T stands for the four muscles that comprise one of the most commonly injured areas of the body, the rotator cuff. Rotator cuff is designed to stabilize the most mobile joint in the body, our shoulder joint. And because it's the most mobile, it's the most susceptible to injury, maybe second to the knee. The S.I.T.S muscle group, which four muscles. We've got the supraspinatus, which the name supra suggests. It sits up high, superior. It runs right over top, just like this. And if you look at that diagram, that picture that I have on the blog there, you will see that it attaches right here. We're going to talk about this in a second, but this particular muscle is the most commonly injured. Then we have the infraspinatus, which sits right over top of your scapula, as the name infra suggests, in front of the scapula. It's not really what infra means, but it's how I remember it. And then the teres minor. Now you've got teres major and minor, but the minor is the one that comprises the rotator cuff group. And the teres minor sits right underneath and below the infraspinatus. The fourth one, which is a little hard to point to, but if I raise my arm like this and I act like I'm trying to put my hand right through my armpit and get right on the front surface of the scapula, that shoulder blade, that's the subscapularis, and it sits right on top of that shoulder from the inside. So we've got the infraspinatus and the subscapularis, teres minor, and supraspinatus. So what does all that mean for you? Well, if you've ever had a rotator cuff injury, you know how bad it hurts. It is not fun, and it takes a long time to rehab. You'll find that these injuries occur most often in any sports that require excessive throwing, baseball pitcher, quarterback, even golfers, and forceful pulling also can cause a lot of swelling of that bursa in that rotator cuff area, and sometimes bone spurs form, and we'll end up with a rotator cuff tear there in that supraspinatus. One of the best things to learn, however, especially if you have not had a rotator cuff injury, is how to prevent yourself from having one. So, as I've said, the shoulder joint is the most mobile. In order to make sure that when we're doing all of those things that we like, you want to make sure that you're addressing the muscle tissue that surrounds that shoulder joint. One of the most common things I see as a sports massage therapist is an internal rotation like this. 98% of the population is in a position like this with this shoulder like, in an excessive forward rotation or an internal rotation. And the reason being is because we spend all of our time with our hands out here. We're either texting, we're on the computer, or we're driving. All that does is create an excessive tension here through the chest muscles. Well, the reason that's important when we're talking about this shoulder joint is if you do not address the tightness here, you're constantly going to be in this forward position. Well, guess what happens when you go to do overhead movements? The chest isn't going to go, oh, okay, I'll relax for this so you can do this. No, it's going to stay tight. It's going to keep you in an internally rotated position. You're going to go like this to lift heavy, and sooner or later, you might end up, if not with an irritated bursa in that rotator cuff, you're going to tear it. And that's why that supraspinatus ends up getting injured the most often. So, let's talk about how to address this. We want to make sure that we break up this tight tissue through here with some myofascial release. We'll talk in greater detail about this on Workout Wednesday, where I talk about the different exercises you can do for your rotator cuff, how to break this up. But briefly, if you don't have a tennis ball in your arsenal of tools, I will show you how to use it on Wednesday. In the meantime, be conscientious of this today. Make sure your shoulders are down and back. If you are a baseball pitcher, a football player, a golfer, or somebody that does a lot of overhead lifting, keep yourself out of harm's way. Give me a call for sports massage. I can definitely teach you how to address this at home, and I can break up a lot of that fascial tissue for you. In the meantime, have a great Muscle Monday. Drink some juice. Talk to you later.